Hello, good morning, muy buenos dias, continuous lines. This is Meagan Birds coming to you live from the streets of Condesa in la ciudad de Mexico. Did you see that pink taxi? Oh, and here comes a whole barrage of dogs. Hi, coming to you live from the streets of Condesa in la ciudad de Mexico. Yesterday, we actually drew. I'm here at Tout Chocolat, and I actually drew myself at this very table. So I feel, oh, gracias. I feel like I've manifested this. Look at this. My ask and you shall receive. My beautiful latte has just been delivered to me. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Muy buenos dias. They do have a strong coffee here at Tout Chocolat. So manifestation, management, magic, manifestation. I feel like these are three big under acknowledged benefits of having a continuous line drawing practice. I'm not even going to say continuous line. I'm going to say having a drawing practice, which is actually more like a meditation, right? Like, I don't like to say, oh, now we're going to meditate, so get out your pens, because then some of the people go, oh, God, she's one of those woo-woo people. I am one of those woo-woo people, but that's not the driving force. The driving force is a drawing habit, and in my case, a continuous line drawing habit. And I feel like by having this practice that I adhere to the practice every day, it helps me to manage myself. It helps me to discover what I want to manifest. And then, wait a minute. Oh, and then the magic comes, right? Because like when you're able to manifest, when you're able to calm your thoughts, and that's what a drawing practice does. It helps you calm your thoughts. You can think more clearly and make better decisions, right? When you can think more clearly and make better decisions, you can decide what it is you want to do, right? Like yesterday, I drew myself at this very table talking to my phone, which is literally what I'm doing right now. And so even with my apartment that I just moved into, I literally was drawing it. I was drawing a light-filled, no furniture apartment with great light. Did I already say that? And I got it, right? And so you have to acknowledge the little things, even if it may seem insignificant, like, oh, I imagine myself having a latte at this very spot yesterday. Well, that's maybe if you're coming to the area and you go to the area and you order a latte, well, yeah, that's manifestation, right? But it's when you start pulling things out of the universe, that's when it gets to be pretty magical, right? Like, I have been in San Miguel for years. I have seen a lot of apartments, and I have never once seen an apartment like what I wanted, right? And so I just started drawing it, and I started thinking about it, I started praying for it, and lo and behold, because I was able to calm myself, I feel I was able to manifest things, right? So, all right, all that woo-woo stuff aside, I have my fresh continuous line drawing practice warm-up book. No, I don't need the word practice. Continuous line warm-up book. And I'm getting ready to welcome a group of sketchers, artists here to Mexico City. And so we're going to make our way around this beautiful city. We're going to do some drawing. We're going to do some exploring. We're going to do some eating. And we're going to do some drawing. Did I already say that? Yeah. This Mexico City agenda, honestly, I feel like it's one of my best. I feel like all my workshop agendas are super good. I put a lot of heart and soul into them. They're not just like, there's a lot of workshops where you just go and you have the workshop in the morning and then you're left to your own devices in the afternoon, and that's super cool. But my workshops tend to be a little bit more inclusive where, we're all in. We start at breakfast. We start drawing at breakfast, and we go throughout the day. So my workshops include like the art workshop, the drawing workshop, the continuous line practice, urban sketching, museums, restaurants, cultural excursions, private events, outings, fine dining. Now, I don't go super fine dining just because that's a whole nother scene, but we go very good dining, right? Like, there's a million restaurants here in Mexico City. It's very much known for its dining scene, right? Even last night, I arrived, the sun was just setting, so it was getting kind of dark, and I had seen and heard about this new taco joint that opened up here in Condesa. And the thing that I love about it is that they're very proud of the fact that it's heirloom corn, which is criollo. There's a lot of tomfoolery going on with our food these days. Well, that's nothing new at all. But there's more and more taco places, dining establishments here in Mexico City. I have never seen this in San Miguel, that are going to great lengths to use only Mexican unmessed with corn, right? Like, because there's a lot of corn. Like, you see that corn in America, that's a very industrial corn. It's Monsanto corn. Well, hello. And so when there's places here in Mexico City that, are very proud to announce that they're only using heirloom corn, I like to check it out, because there's, even the national food here of Mexico, which is the tortilla, right? They've really messed it. It's like Wonder Bread, right? It's got a lot of fillers, it's got a lot of chemicals, and it's almost not even, well, I mean, it's food, but it's almost not food. So anyways, I checked out a really cool place last night. Had some delicious tacos. Now, I did notice that the tacos have gotten a lot more expensive, but that's like the rest of the world too, right? Where I could used to be able to eat a good meal for 150 pesos. Now it's like 300, which is like $15, which is kind of standard. Well, I shouldn't even say standard. It's standard for, I guess, a lunch. But, you can still eat cheap in Mexico City. But, it's true. You get what you pay for, right? You get what you pay for. And I believe in eating real food with real ingredients. And so I like to avoid the processed junk when I can, as much as I can, which means I often am eating at home a lot. Let me have some of this. Gosh, it's so good to be back in the hood. This is, I used to live 3 blocks away. Let me just show you. This is right here. The dog park is right down. I can't show you the dog park, but it's right down. Hey, those of you that were with me yesterday, there's the umbrella that we drew. And this is the Hippodromo, which in Condesa, the main circle, this used to be a horse track back before the Mexican Revolution. And so the circle, the oval, has remained. And then after the Mexican Revolution, if you wanted to move in this part of town, you had to plant a tree, which, is that the truth? I don't know. Does it make sense? Kinda. Because the amount of beautiful, huge old trees in this neighborhood, I mean, I'm living in an apartment in San Miguel that has lots of trees around it, but that's very unusual because San Miguel does not have a lot of trees because they've chopped them all down. Here, you had to plant a tree if you wanted to move to this part of town, and you don't chop them down. So some of them are so big they've bursted up the sidewalk. So a lot of the sidewalks are broken and uneven, and so it's kind of a treacherous place to walk. You always want to be, I always tell my groups, you gotta watch your steps here because the everyone thinks, oh, it's the earthquakes that broke the sidewalks. Well, I'm sure that's part of it, right? But it's also the tree roots and just a whole combination of things, right? It's really a magical part of town. People often think of Mexico City and they go, oh my God, how are you not dead, right? Well, those are the people that, first of all, believe everything they hear and haven't been here, right? Because, there certainly has been some security issues in Mexico. There's been security issues everywhere in the world, my God, right? It's funny how just the, security issues, which is gun violence, in America doesn't hit the same as violence in Mexico, right? And, what is that from? I don't know. Is that just misinformation, or is it kind of a racist thing? It's probably a whole, not archaeology. What's the word I'm looking for? Anthropology, right? It's very deep-rooted stuff, because generally speaking, people have this idea that Mexico is scary and unsafe and hot. Well, I'm here to tell you, I'm sure that there are absolutely parts that are scary and bad things happen, just like anywhere else, right? But generally speaking, this is a pretty safe part of town. It's a beautiful part of town, and there's not a lot of open gunfire. At all, right? Like, I don't think I've ever heard a gunshot here. And I'm from Chicago, and I heard a lot of gunfire there. Now, at the same time, I also felt like Chicago, I always felt pretty safe in Chicago. Our media sources love to exaggerate things, right? For their own, who knows? That's another complicated thing, right? Based on their political alignments, right? Chicago is dangerous, and there's a lot going on there, but my last time there, which was, I guess it was a year and a half ago, could not have been prettier. It was like, I was so proud to be from the city of Chicago because it was stunning. It was just so crystally clear blue, and as someone who likes to draw architecture, the buildings were beautiful, and they're also, the thing they say about Mexico is it looks like, the saying is, it looks like it's been drawn with a very unsteady hand, right? And, because nothing, and that could be because of the earthquakes and because of roots buckling things. Everything's kind of crooked, right? Everything, the city itself is built on a lake. That dog just made a point to turn around and look at me. I think he winked at me. And so the city is built on a lake, so some things are sinking, and so you get some buildings that are leaning. So it's a very uneven, lines don't match up city. I went to Chicago, and everything was like super precise, and it was magical, right? So I'm sure that, people who are living in Chicago, everyone has their own perception of it, right? Their own perception, right? It really has a lot to do with how you live and where you live and how you participate in your community, right? How do you participate in your community, right? I'm kind of a daytime activity gal. I get all my stuff done during the day, and I like to go out and draw things, and I meet people by drawing, and I've made some connections through my drawing, because it's just a really cool way to be in the world, is to be drawing, right? And so I'm not out in the evenings, I'm not out in bars, I'm not where people are doing drugs, right? So I'm kind of like not a part of that whole scene. And I'm sure that's a whole big scene here, but that's not something that I see or participate in, right? So my experience in Mexico City is beautiful cafes, bike rides, drawing. It's a very privileged life, right? But at the same time, I've worked very hard for it. It's not like this was just handed to me. I manifested this. I worked very hard. I've had to work years of horrible jobs, probably like so many of you, right? You got to put in the time and pay the man. But, and through being rejected by things and being told no, I couldn't be a part of something, I just had to create my own world, my own career, my own opportunities, right? Like, I have been told I'm not qualified to teach drawing. I have been told, just the rejection thing, right? We've all been rejected. And through that, I was like, well, if I'm not going to be invited to the party, I have to make my own party, right? Make your own party. And honestly, I do think that is a big part of the American spirit. I may knock America here and there, but being an American, seeing what's happening in politics these days, seeing what's going on, there are certainly things to be troubled by and concerned about, but at the same time, there really is nothing like the American spirit and the American Is that conceited of me to say? I don't know. Because having been rejected, I didn't just go, okay, well, I guess I can't teach drawing because they told me I'm not qualified, right? So I didn't just end it there. I just kept practicing, and teaching. I was doing the thing that they told me I wasn't qualified to do. So it's kind of like, someone tells you no, you can't, or you're not. You don't have to believe that, right? You don't have to believe that. It's up to each one of us to create our own reality. And I really do feel like, everything's been, ever since Trump, this monster era of Trump, he's just really created so much chaos and anger and confusion and hate, right? Like, so I have really had to lean into my drawing practice as a way to, like, manage my angst over it, right? Because it's so frustrating. That this idiot has so much power. And so by having a drawing practice and leaning into it, it helps, like, me detach from the anger and chaos that maybe is self-created in my own head, right? So by having a drawing practice and leaning into it, I'm able to kind of calm myself and just be like, okay, breathe, right? Breathe. And then, come on. Oh, there it is. Okay, I lost my internet for a moment. I forgot this location does kind of lose that. But, okay, so through a daily drawing practice of just doing lines, not drawing anything in particular, I'm able to calm myself. And by calming myself, I'm able to think a little bit clearer, right? And when I'm able to think a little bit clearer, I'm able to make better decisions about what it is I want to do. I mean, I'm not this year, but next year is one of those milestone birthdays. I'm going to be 60 next year, right? So I'm like, what do I want to do with the rest of my time? What do I want to do with the rest of my time, right? Because they say as you get older, time goes by faster, right? So what am I going to do? Am I going to sit around and cry about Trump? No. I'm going to do something, right? I am going to do something, right? Because we have to do something. And so for me, I'm going to continue to make my art, and I'm going to continue to support my community. I'm going to continue to support and encourage others to find their voice through their own storytelling, right? Because our stories are important, especially in this digital age when we're maybe feeling like our digital stories are just not important because they're not digital. Well, your stories can be digital, right? But I think just with how horrendously digital our world is, it's more important than ever to tell your stories, right? So even if you think you can't, even if you think you're not good, keep doing it, because it's through practice, it's through having a practice, it's through dedicating your time to a practice, that's where the magic happens, right? So a daily practice allows you to sort of get calm and manage your thoughts a little bit better, right? We all need a way to manage our thoughts a little bit better in these super chaotic times. Even if the jerk goes to prison, we're going to have to hear about him all the time, right? So you have to find a way to manage your thoughts, right? And then by managing your thoughts, you're able to think more clearly and manifest the thing that you want to do with your life, right? And so through the management of your thoughts comes the manifestation. And when the manifestation starts to happen, that's where the magic is, right? That's where the magic can get you opportunities. All of a sudden an opportunity arrives at your doorstep, or you say you want this sort of apartment, and it appears in a city where people say, you can't find an apartment like that. Oh my God, everything is so expensive and everything is full and blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? I found it, and the price was cheaper than I expected, and it's beautiful. It's got some weird, funky things. It's still a Mexican apartment, so like there's one electrical outlet, and there's the space between the sink and the counter is this big, so I can't gain weight. But who cares? The rest of the space is cool, right? And so, and that, my friends, is the magic, right? So remember to have grace for yourself and to go easy on yourself and easy on others. We are all, every single one of us is struggling with something these days, right? I mean, it's pretty chaotic and confusing out there, right? And expensive and angry, although there is something that we can do, right? There's something you can do to be a part of a better future, right? And maybe that's practicing your art. Maybe that's getting involved in politics, having your voice heard. Maybe that's just like helping in your community. Maybe it's just, being a better person. I literally have to remind myself every morning. I have a whole prayer that I say every morning, and at the end of it, I say, remember to be nice, right? Remember to be nice, because I don't know. I mean, I am my mother's daughter, and there is something about me that, like, my first inclination may not be to be nice, and it may be to be a little biting. And so I really do have to remind myself is to have grace for others, especially the ones I don't like, and to be nice, and to go easy on myself and easy on others, and to practice my art, and to be a good upstanding person in the community. And through all that, I have manifested the life that I'm living. It's not perfect. It's not without sadness or frustration or disappointment, but it is the life that I love living. I get to wake up every morning and make art, ride a bike. Well, I don't get to ride a bike in San Miguel, but here in Mexico City, I ride a bike. And I help others and talk to others who make art, right? Okay, peace out, everyone. Oh, the September drawing challenge is continuous line people, groups of people, right? Like we've done portraits, continuous line portraits, but this time we're going to do clumps of people, because you can look at a group of people and they can be one shape, right? And so my personal goal with drawing people is I don't always want it to be, I don't want to have to feel like I have to draw every line, right? So in my want for a more elegant line, it's also leaving some lines out. So I'll be doing some demos over that this month, and continuous line people, all right? Remember, go easy on yourself, go easy on others. Finish big with a heart, and keep on telling your stories. Have a good day, everyone. I'll see you next time. Bye from La Ciudad de Mexico.